Now, I don't even know where to start with this one. Okay, let's start with the obvious, okay? On Friday the 13th of November, there was the biggest terrorist attack on European soil in recent history, and over 130 people lost their lives. Hundreds more injured. That brings up a lot of feelings, a lot of, like, grief for those who've lost, you know, shock that this even happened in the first place, and anger at the people that did it. And I think it's right that we should take action to stop Daesh, because I'm not calling them the Islamic State, I'm not calling them ISIS, because guess what, they don't want to be called Daesh, so I'm gonna fucking call them Daesh. Or Daesh, one of those two, it's Daesh or Daesh. Whatever, either way, they don't want to be called it, so I'm calling them it. And before we can really put together the right response to this, we need to work out actually why they attack innocent people. They have to have had a reason why they did this. I can already tell how much rage, just by saying that, people are going to be feeling, because it's one of those things that's it's so hard to see the sense in. It's so hard to see the logic in until you understand the reasoning. Now, someone has done a much better job than me of putting it into words. Someone's probably shared it on your Facebook recently. It's the video entitled "ISIL is weak." It puts what I'm about to say in much more eloquently and much more detail, but the reason these attacks attacked innocent people is because they want to piss us off. They want us blaming people within our communities so that those people will be isolated and marginalised, and that the only place they'll have left to go is to Daesh. That's the purpose of the attacks. That's the strategic goal of them. Because if both sides of this are going, you know what, Muslims have no place in the West, that brings everyone into line with Daesh's point of view. The response this time has been one of the scariest that I can remember, because we're not just blaming Muslims anymore, apparently. Apparently we're blaming all immigrants. Because there's a petition with nearly 500,000 signatures proposing that we stop all immigration until ISIS is defeated. Purely on practicality terms, that just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't. Would you send all the foreign students home? And when those foreign students leave for the summer, do they get to come back for their second and third year? Like, do you realise just how much they bring into the university system? Yeah, and the person who started the petition spends 6 months of the year as an expat in Spain. So they would be immigrating back to the UK every 6 months, and they wouldn't be able to do that because we'd have stopped all immigration. And then we get to the personal front. My fiancée, I don't know if any of you have noticed, is Canadian. And I already, like, even as the rules stand now, me being married to her would not be enough to get her into the country. It's already difficult enough. Like, the possibility of us living in the UK together, married, is already far enough in the future. And when I go over to Canada, I will be an immigrant over there. And yet you guys wouldn't stop me entering your country, would you? Because you know I'm not a terrorist. And the hilarity of saying that this is This is the fault of everyone who's come into our country. When some of the people killed in the Paris attacks were immigrants to France. What you were saying by signing that petition is that all immigrants might as well be ISIS. Now, I refuse to believe that 500,000 people are that stupid. I'm praying to whatever God there may or may not be that they just haven't thought this through, because just saying that out loud is so unfathomably stupid. That all immigrants might as well be ISIS, so let's stop all of them. There are no words. There are no words. Like at least the people who are trying to stop the refugees, at least I can see where they're coming from. Because it seems that one of the attackers did use a forged Syrian passport to sneak into Europe. So like, I don't agree with them, but I can see where they're coming from. Right? I understand where their concern lies. But all? I mean, it's one of those things that I don't even want to engage with the argument that we should stop all immigration, just because it's so, like, the argument itself is so self-evidently flawed. Like, I shouldn't need to. I shouldn't have to point out how bloody stupid that is. I shouldn't have to point out the ignorance of everyone who signed that petition. And yet I feel I have to anyway. Because 500,000 bloody people signed it. I mean, I could go on about the practicalities of bombing Daesh in Syria. You know, like I could talk about how I think we should go after their supply, you know, the supplies of money and arms and the people who are buying their oil, as much as we're going after the military targets, because these are as, if not more, important than the on-the-ground battle. But I feel like I can't even say that until we're all agreed on who the enemy is. Because apparently my fiance's the enemy. Apparently if I go to Canada, if Canada has the same attitude as the UK, if I go over there, I'll be the enemy there. I think the one thing that gives me hope is the fact that, from what I've seen on Facebook, more this time around, more people are sharing like pro-unity stuff than divisive material. That the whole you know, Muslims coming and taking our country, that there's been hardly any of that on my Facebook. Now, it might just be that my Facebook page is an ideological closed echo chamber, which I can't rule out. And with the way Facebook sorts the news feed, it could just be that I'm not seeing them, but I'm seeing a lot more reasonable thought than in the aftermath of previous attacks. And I hope that that's us learning something from previous experiences, learning from the last time a terrorist attack drew us into a war in the Middle East. Learning our mistakes from Iraq and Libya. The fact that I've seen so few people share that utterly abysmal petition. I hope that this time we will feel that anger and that rage and that grief, but that we won't let it cloud our thought and our compassion, because in the long run, those are the only things that lead to peace.